You know what I really like? Trains. Trains are just so f***ing cool, man. I mean, come on. Look at these things. They just beg to be looked at. These giant, massive, powerful metal beasts, which are literally given life through fire and flames. They are forces to be reckoned with. So yeah, trains are pretty cool. And you know what else is really cool? Fish. And I don't mean like actual fish. To be honest, fish tastes kind of weird. I'm not a big seafood fan in general. No, I mean I really love the episode of Thomas with the absolutely amazing title, Fish. Yeah, they were really thinking outside the box on that one. A long time ago, I made a top 10 Thomas episodes video, and every episode I listed for a particular reason. Looking back, I would definitely change that list. I would keep a few episodes on there for sure, but swap others out. One I would absolutely add onto it is Fish. The reason being for its stunning visuals. No one will argue that this episode isn't a real peak musically and visually. From the nighttime shots of Henry gliding past the lighthouse, to the bird's eye view of the wooded tracks with the mist creeping through the trees and that cozy purple light, these Wonderland visuals do not cease to dazzle. The visuals are also exceptional in this episode for how they portray the trains themselves, and that's what I want to talk about here today. Thomas the Tank Engine is, shocker, about trains. The episodes vary in the types of stories and lessons they tell, but the core concept of every story is that these are trains. Fish glorifies just how awesome and powerful these machines truly are. And I specifically say machines because that's what they are. They may be funny, happy, smiley friend pals, but they're steam locomotives first and foremost. They don't jump off the tracks and fly around and shoot lasers out of their eyes. They're heavy, metal, powerful, fire-powered steam locomotives. And while their smiley goober faces are what the kids relate to, the genius mind of director David Mitton also knew that wasn't the most alluring aspect of these characters. David Mitton was a true wizard behind the camera. He knew so many tricks to make these models seem greater than they really were. From the use of low camera angles to make the audience look literally up to the engines as if they were standing at eye level, to the harsh, contrasty shadows that hid the simplistic designs of the models, to the convincing steam effects they filmed at a high frame rate and then slowed down in post, he pulled every trick to make these seem like real metal beasts. One of my all-time favorite Mitton traits is something you all probably never noticed before, and it's present in this shot right here. Ready? 'Cause I'm about to blow your mind. You'll never watch the classic series the same after this. Whenever engines were in frame but their interactions weren't the focus of the scene, Mitton always positioned them facing away from the camera. By doing this, he's removing the most relatable human part of the character from view, the face. Without the face present, suddenly these aren't friendly kid show characters. They're trains, steam engines, machines, iron workhorses waiting in line for their next duty in a busy industrial setting. It's such a simple trick, but it is so goddamn effective. By doing this, classic Thomas rode that line of being these happy kitty choo-choo pals and real working locomotives. It's one of the many reasons classic Thomas is so cool. And you'll notice they don't do this in the Hit era or any of the CGI seasons. It's very exclusively a David Mitton thing. Again, that's the old team for you. All those little details that bring Thomas above other kids' media in ensuring it doesn't play down to its target audience. There's another shot in this episode that absolutely solidifies how truly cool these trains are, and it is honestly my all-time favorite shot in all of Thomas the Tank Engine. This is it. Trains are so f***ing cool. Everything about this shot embodies what I love about Thomas. Where do I begin? First off, the low angle. The camera being placed so low to the ground at what would be human eye level makes Henry look absolutely giant, as that's how he would look like if he was a real train and you were standing next to him. Second, the lack of narration. This is a 20-second, fully uninterrupted shot with no dialogue whatsoever. Instead, there's a huge focus on sound effects. The heavy chuffing of this mighty engine slowly accelerating its long, heavy train. You really get a feel for how massive and heavy this thing is. Third is the low music notes. There's no cheerful lead-in music into this scene. It's very low, ominous notes that fade out. This isn't some go-lucky, happy, colorful, wacky scene. This is a real steam engine starting its long journey. There's no need for music to grab the audience's attention here. The engine itself does that with its steam and its sounds. And lastly, the fact this is an extremely long, uninterrupted take. This is intentional, so the audience is forced to see the entirety of that long train past the camera and really nail down just how long and heavy Henry's Hall is. This is my absolute favorite shot in Thomas. Nothing tops it. And I don't mean to keep ragging on modern day Thomas, but we just don't get shots like this in the show nowadays. They're so focused on fast pacing to keep kids' attention to even consider slower, awe-inspired moments like this. The fact they're trains is and should be the selling point, but Mattel would rather Thomas be literally anything else, like an airplane, or an astronaut, or a Roman chariot, or a...
Oh, excuse me.
It's no wonder the toy sales continue to slip. Kids aren't going to want toys of trains when the show itself goes to extreme lengths to say trains are lame and has them doing anything other than what trains would do. It's safe to say that Thomas entered a sort of identity crisis since Mattel took over, which only gets worse and worse with every passing year. I don't care what anyone says. Trains are cool. And Thomas was cool because it really showcased just how cool trains were. They're fiery, beastly, absolute units on rails. Forces to be reckoned with.